At the Office, Cleveland's home for sports talk that never clocks out. From the latest headlines to heated debates, we're diving into everything sports. It's your hosts, Noah, John, and Erik.
Cleveland! Welcome into The Office, the show where we talk all things sports. I'm your host, Noah, joined with my co-host, Erik, and you can join us too at The Office. Feel free to leave a comment, send us in a tweet, send us in a message, whether you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, X, of course, or call or text the show, 216-260-3433. That's 216-260-3433. Erik, how you doing, buddy? And you're muted right now, just so you know.
Thank you for that. I'm doing okay, I guess. I mean, yesterday was a little rough as a Cleveland sports fan, but I'm ready to get after it with you.
Yeah, it is going to be a very interesting show because tensions are high in Cleveland as it stands today. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers to talk about. We have some more Browns, drama, gossip, all of that to talk about. As always, real quick, just want to remind everybody, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Helps us grow the brand here a ton. And also, we have a lovely, lovely sponsor here on the page at The Office, and that is D&D Meadery. Two twin brothers, Derek and Dominic, bringing back the craft of making mead from their ancestors from just right up the road in Madison, Ohio. This stuff is crafted in Menor, Ohio. It is fantastic. It is succulent. It is delicious. Erik, tell the people how you feel about D&D mead.
Listen, I have drank my supply. I need to order more. It's really good stuff. I'm not really a wine guy, but this is different. It's mead. It's flavorful. They have a few different flavors, actually. I've only had the honey wine, which is their award-winning, but highly recommend. You guys should definitely get it.
And you can get it with code @the-office CLE. You get 5% off. Buy 2 bottles, get a free shot glass. Of course, I had one. It is no longer with us. It broke in the dishwasher, so make sure to use your grubby little paws to wash the shot glass, because I miss it. I miss it dearly, and I'm jealous. That's why I said grubby little paws. Erik, it's been a pleasure to have them on the show. Fantastic stuff. Shout out Derek and Dominic. Please drink responsibly, 21 years of age or older. All right, man. Let's get into it. We got the ad read out of the way. It's time to talk about what we witnessed last night for the Cavaliers versus Pacers in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. And I'm not gonna preface it with a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I'm gonna let you have at it right now. I've been talking a lot. I want to hear what you have to say, man.
Listen, I watched the same game as you, I think. We were texting a little. I know you were working the game, but me, you, and John were texting. And at times I thought you and John were watching a different game because neither of you seemed bothered by what we were seeing. And that did surprise me a little bit. The Cavs looked like they weren't ready for game 1. That's the biggest takeaway that I can give you. You can blame Garland. Coach Atkinson came out today, NBA Coach of the Year, by the way. Coach Atkinson came out today and he said that they were a little too brutal, too physical. And he's bemoaning that, which I don't like, by the way. But they seem surprised by Indiana's speed, even though they've been talking about it for days. I don't know why they'd be surprised. It's like they knew what was coming, but they couldn't simulate it in practice. It makes zero sense. I mean, give the Pacers credit here. They did go 44 of 83 from the field, which is 53%, and they were 19 of 36 from 3, which is 52.8%. They shot lights out, certainly. But the frustrating thing was, like I said, it looks like the Cavs weren't ready. And yes, the Pacers were playing fast. Our transition defense was horrible last night. But here's the thing. They might have been playing fast. They were playing at a 99.5 pace rating, which is the fastest they've played, except for one game so far in the playoffs. But again, I don't get it because we've played 47 games this year at a faster pace, and we went 40-7. So I'm just not sure what exactly broke down. You can maybe blame Garland's absence in a guard-heavy kind of series. The biggest stats that point out for me, though, it's not Garland's absence, and I want to hear what you think in a second. But it's what we did or didn't do in the paint. So we did have 70 points in the paint. Ty Jerome touched the ball more than anybody, with the exception of Mitchell, which is crazy. There were times when he was trying to do a little too much, like he knew Garland being out, he needed to step up. But for me, it came down to Mobley. Um, I don't think that Mobley did what he needed to do, and he was outside of the arc way too often for me. We have an advantage with our bigs, and we weren't using it like we could have been. That was a bit frustrating to see, I got to say. He scored 20 points and had 10 boards, but he only took 13 shots. He also turned it over 4 times. So Mobley's absence, I think, hurt us a little more than anything. And how we flowed the offense, it didn't look like the Cavs.
Yeah, I think this story is the battle between rust and rest. We got the rest from sweeping Miami, and we go against a much faster paced Indiana team who plays aggressive, hard basketball. And it looked like we were expecting to go out there and sweep. Listen, I was on the show last time we sat down. The clip's out there. I put it out there on Sunday before game 1 of me doing the Shannon Sharp rhyme and saying Cavs in 4. Obviously, it's not Cavs in 4 anymore. We got full of ourselves. We got punched in the mouth. How will you respond? That is my question of the day, is how is this team going to respond? Am I nervous as a fan a little bit, because that's just what you do as a fan? But I'm not going to be pressing panic button until I see what happens tomorrow in game 2 when they play again at Romo Fijo, which is now just Rocket Arena. And really show if they can respond to this. Now, there's some storylines that have come out today that worry me. Brian Windhorst reports that the Cavs view the Pacers as a bad matchup internally. Then you have the injury stuff. DeAndre Hunter dislocated his thumb on that hard foul that should have been called a foul. So he's questionable. Evan Mobley landed wrong on his ankle. He has an ankle injury. He's questionable. There's been rumors of Donovan Mitchell having some lower leg extremity issues going on out there. I believe that was from the Windhorst article. It might have been from a different publication, so don't quote me on that Mitchell is having injuries. This team, we've said it since day one, needs to stay injury-free if they want to go on the run that they want to have. And right now, all the storylines that we're looking at scares the absolute hell out of me in terms of that. Now, what do I think is going to happen tomorrow? I think Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and Donovan Mitchell play. I don't know about you, Erik. You can tone in if you want. I think DeAndre Hunter is probably going to be out a couple games because of that dislocation in a hand in a sport that you use your hands a lot. What do you think is going to happen with the injuries, E?
Yeah, I mean, I could see all those guys playing, frankly. I mean, it's his left hand, if I'm not mistaken. That said, yeah, I kind of agree with your take. Listen, I agree 100% with what you're saying. It's going to be how they respond. And I don't think we're going to shoot as poorly on night 2 as we did in night 1. And I don't necessarily think that they're going to shoot as well on night 2 as night 1. I will say, though, that, and I want to hear your take, what Kenny Atkinson, the coach, said about the physicality. Yes, there were times where there were no calls when there should have been calls. Certainly. I'm not arguing against that. Ty Jerome, I wish, would stop arguing and get his ass back on defense, but that's another thing. But to say there was no point in that series where I thought it was overly physical, like it was too much. I just saw hard basketball being played. So to come out and say, hey, it was too physical, our guys are getting hurt, I didn't think that was the case, honestly. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you, honestly. I mean, I was there in the arena. I saw a lot of rough play. I'm never one to complain about rough play, though. I played offensive line my whole life, and you're taught if you're not cheating, you're not trying and all of that. So throwing a bow and kind of playing a little aggressive is the name of the game and my thought process when it comes to sports. That being said, though, I remember there was a 3 that Strus took that he got collapsed on, and it looked like an air ball, probably on TV, but in person, it looked like he got jacked up. We're talking about Miles Turner getting underneath Mobley. That's where the ankle injury came from. The DeAndre Hunter play is a prime example of it as well. I thought there was some ticky-tackiness. There was some talk online too about like, oh, these refs suck. I never like to buy into those narratives either, but I can understand the thought process of it being a rough game. In terms
That's
of the
basketball,
injury.
though, baby. I mean,
Oh, and I
you
agree.
got to
Like I
fight through
said,
that. You got to be tough on your side.
off the rip, I don't ever buy into the, oh, well, they're playing too hard against us. That it's just not how my sports mentality works, right? You got beat, they were stronger, they were more physical. Get over yourself. That being said, though, this is a prime opportunity for this Cleveland Cavaliers team to look at the media who has doubted them all year and shut them up. This team's playing you physical. The lights aren't too bright anymore. Jared Allen, throw a bow, throw a check like you did the one time in that Detroit Pistons game when you got shoved. It's time to fight fire with fire and be badasses, period, in my opinion.
I will say that the biggest about face that I'm about to make, and I think you'll agree, is we were floating the idea of maybe we trade Garland for some assets next year and sign Ty Jerome to a massive contract. I'm not sure I'm in favor of that anymore. I mean, if I had to grade Jerome this game, I'd give him an F. I mean, he was trying to do way too much. I think he's blocked on at least 4 floater attempts. His confidence just had head scratching moments of stuff that he was putting up. I mean, he converted some, don't get me wrong, but we missed Garland in this game, man. And why were we playing Sam Merrill and Dean Wade as much as we were playing? Dean Wade did okay. He only shot the ball twice, but Sam Merrill, like, what are we doing?
See, and my eye test in the stadium, my first note for the whole game, I take notes as I have time in between, throwing T-shirts and doing my thing at the stadium. Dean Wade doesn't deserve playoff minutes at this point, is the exact note I wrote down. It was the first thing I wrote down. He had a span, I believe it was in the third to fourth quarter, where he did nothing but miss shots and blow up defensively. I get that we have to go a little.
He only took 2 shots for the record. So
That's
he's
fair.
0 for 2, but
I get that we're at a point too that we kind of have to play a little deeper in the depth because Garland's out, and then you had I don't know if Hunter was out at this point. I think he might have been. The moment I'm thinking of, but Dean Wade has shown nothing to earn his keep in the playoffs. Sam Merrill, I at least give him credit because he played hard defense in that Miami series and he was hot. That being said,
hold on. You got to flip this because yes, I agree with you that Merrill locked down Tyler Hero in the Miami series, but he looked lost in the motion offense last night. Not our motion offense, their motion offense. Whereas Dean Wade,
the whole team.
No, I know, but hold on. Dean Wade was locking down Halliburton and Siakam at different points last night. So give a little credit where it's due. I thought Wade looked better than.
And again, maybe it's my eye test and me being at the arena, but I disagree. I just don't think Dean Wade showed me anything that gives me a reason to think that he needs minutes other than the fact that he's the only other big that we have other than Tristan Thompson off the bench. DeAndre Hunter too, but when you're talking true, tall, big.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't want either of them getting very many moments or minutes rather.
Yeah, and speaking of a guy too that had a lot of discourse about his game, Isaac Okoro played 15 minutes. He had a plus and minus of +3. Sure, he only shot like 3 or 4 times and he missed, but the Pacers went 0 for 3 on him, one of those being a 3-pointer. Like his defensive prowess needs to not be forgotten when he's on the field and he pisses you on the court and he pisses you off because he misses a 3-pointer or because he takes a bad shot. His defensive prowess is what gets him these playoff minutes. And in moments where defense is absolutely necessary, he still deserves minutes, in my opinion. So any of that discourse, I disagree with. Erik, I don't know if your take's any different.
No, I mean, I'm with you. Listen, game 2, we need to come out and look less lackadaisical because, like it or not, we looked uninterested at times. We looked like we expected to sweep this team. We expected to go through them like we went through Miami, and that wasn't the case. I mean, there were times where we just looked unprepared. When they were getting second chance boards on offense when, again, their motion offense and their transition offense were just destroying us all game. And I know defense hasn't been the highlight of this team, but what I saw was just odd. And then our offense was stagnant. Granted, we didn't shoot the ball well, and that will change. I forget what we went from behind the arc, but it was pretty bad.
9 for 38. 9 for
Thank you.
38. That simply cannot happen again. Go ahead, E.
And Mitch was Mitch was the worst offender, I think.
1 for 11.
As a three ball shooting team, yeah, that's going to hurt you. I mean, you put a few more in, we were right in it. That said, again, why aren't we if we see that three ball's not falling, why aren't we running the offense through Mobley in the paint? I just don't understand. We also weren't moving. What the offense that I like to see are those motion screens coming off those screens. That's where you get guys like Ty Jerome, the good looks. And don't get me wrong, we had plenty of looks all night. But I see somebody bring the ball down, and then the other four guys are just standing around the fucking arc. And there's nothing more frustrating than Ty Jerome getting late into the shot clock and having to hoist up some ridiculous shot that, of course, doesn't fall. What are we doing?
There was a lot of what felt like Ty Jerome ISO ball going on when they had some of the second tier, the bench players in there, which I didn't think made sense. Listen, Kenny Atkinson got awarded coach of the year. Kenny Atkinson got awarded coach of the year today, as we're talking. Not as we're talking, but it happened. It's time to put the money where the mouth is. You're going to have to show us some good adjustments in game 2. I don't think it was a bad game plan. I think you still went out there and you were really close in a game that you could have been down a lot more. You're talking 20 versus 50% shooting, rounding down, whatever it was. It was more like 28 and 54 or something like that. But man, they need to make some adjustments, and I'm really curious to see, out of all these players that are hurt, dinged up, whatever, who's going to rise to the occasion, do something amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Coach Atkinson at all. He deserves the award for what he's put together this season, but that award is a regular season award, and it means jack shit now. So I hope that he has an answer tomorrow night for their speed. Listen, some of it was we're just not getting back. That one transition layup really pissed me off. I don't know if it was late in the third or early in the fourth. I don't remember. But I think we made the bucket and they had a transition layup. We just didn't get back to defend. Like, how is that even possible or excusable? That's ridiculous.
No, I'm with you 100%. This Cavs team needs to put up or shut up. Listen, on the last episode we did, I had 2 keys to winning this series. Donovan Mitchell needs to still play him ball and be the face of the franchise. He did that to an extent. He had 31 points. He got to the line a bunch, but he also went 1 from 11 behind the arc. That cannot happen again. I also said DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome need to be the spark plug off the bench. I saw that from neither of them. Now, granted, Hunter is now injured, and we'll see what that looks like moving forward. If the hand is going to bother him, the thumb, I should say, rather. I think those 2 keys still ring true. If you can see those 2 things happen, you see Darius Garland come back in game 2, at the latest game 3. This series is still very much up to grabs. I still think the Cavs are the best team on the court. I think you saw that last night when you were only down 4, again, shooting 20-ish from 3 compared to their 50. They shot lights out. We couldn't make anything. It was one of those games on top of some of the other ticky-tacky shit going on around the field. And I'm ready for game 2 and seeing what this team is really made of, because this is the moment that this is one of the moments in this run that will cement them as just another team that had a really good regular season record, or they were a threat in the East. And then blah, blah, blah happened, whether that be finals, right, Eastern Conference, or whatnot.
Yeah, listen, first things first, they need to find an answer for Nembhard and Nesmith, Andrew and Aaron. I mean, they just fucking blew us up. But like you said, it's pressure, and pressure does one of 2 things. Either it cracks you or it makes diamonds. So I'm hoping that it's the latter and that we can move past this blip. I'm still not worried about this team. the Nicholson injuries, it worries me a little. But I'm still not worried. Cavs in 5? Question mark.
Okay. I'm not getting that far ahead of myself. I already did my take for the time being, so we'll just leave it at that. Listen, I'm going to take us to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of Nick Chubb and his fit with the Cleveland Browns, because it has been a topic of conversation throughout the land. You are listening to At the Office, a Cleveland sports show. We'll be back after these commercial messages. And we're back at the office, hanging out, talking all things Cleveland sports. We really appreciate you joining in. Feel free, again, to leave a comment. Text the show, 216-260-3433. You can call that number as well and be a part of the show. We'll bring you in. We'll talk to you. We'll get your questions and answers answered. Shout out to Vance First Sports Network for all they do. And also, make sure you go check out the merch store at theofficecle.com. You can get a mug. You can get you some shirts. There's a lot of stuff over there. Erik promises something will be new on there sooner rather than later. We are working on it. We promise. And again, hit the subscribe button, like, or download the show if you are listening to the audio-only version of the show. Erik, Nick Chubb, does he fit with the Cleveland Browns anymore? Browns go into the NFL draft, take 2 running backs. They still have Jerome Ford. Then they restructure Jerome Ford's contract. Fans, of course, are still clamoring and want Nick Chubb to be on this roster, myself included. I think yourself to an extent as well. But does he even really fit? Or are we just wearing our beautiful rose-tinted Cleveland goggles in this moment? Tell me what you think, Ben.
It's the latter. Listen, I love Nick Chubb, and if pressed, I'd probably tell you that he's been my favorite player on the Browns for a while now. He embodies what it means to be a hardworking Clevelander. You don't hear him complain. You don't hear him say much of anything. He just goes to work. He does his thing. Here's the problem. We did draft 2 running backs this year, and the type of running back that Nick Chubb is, if he were a third down guy, a guy that could come in and catch the ball and be a specialist on third down, I would say try to sign him for a vet minimum. But all you're doing is worrying about the nostalgic good times of Nick Chubb. And I think it's time for us to move on, because unless you're signing him to be a guy that is gonna, I don't even know what he would do. It's clear that he's taken a step back post injury. Once again, he's had so many injuries in his career. He's not the same guy, and the shelf of a running back, the life cycle of a running back, it's not that long. So I'm just not sure what you're getting. It's like Muhammad Ali getting back in the ring for one last time. We just don't need it as Browns fans. I'm not sure it helps us. He's been incredible. Love Nick Chubb and wish him nothing but the best. But his time in Cleveland, unfortunately, is over.
So I get what you're saying, because I've had the thoughts too. You don't draft Sampson and Judkins, 2 players who were, cream of the crop players in college, and then add another running back and then add another running back. You're muddying the waters. But I think there's something to be said here about the culture and the need for a culture in Cleveland, right? We've had so many ups and downs, whether it be the Deshaun Watson fiasco, whether it be Myles Garrett requesting a trade. Hell, Devin Bush got arrested 2 days ago. We aren't talking about that on the show, but that happened. He just re-signed with us. There is a culture aspect of this that I think matters more than the analytics and the numbers and the thought process of bringing back Nick Chubb because he's a locker room guy. He's a face of the franchise type of player, even if he's not anymore. It's like bringing back I'm trying to think of an example. It's like bringing back Phil Dawson in a way. It just feels right.
But he's a running back, Noah. He's not a mascot.
I know.
And I know that's harsh, but we're not doing him or us any favors in prolonging this thing.
And that's the argument to be had too, because the Bears have shown interest in him, and he would be a featured back potentially in Chicago. And does he deserve that? Chubb has said that he wants to finish his career in orange and brown, right? But where does that fit anymore? It's a good question. I think there's an argument both ways still, though. I think there's an argument that goes towards, yes, Chubb should stay because he's a culture fit and he wants to be here, and you could still get him carries, and it takes some more load off of the younger guys for the time being. How many more years are left in the tank, really, anyway? It makes the whole thing difficult, especially with how, if it's over, his career is going to end here with the two, well, one gruesome and then another injury on top of that the following season. I don't know, man. It hurts to say, yes, I agree with you, but it also doesn't in a way, because I'm excited for a back like Judkins here and Sampson, who was a firecracker for Tennessee. But at the same time, Nick Chubb in another jersey, especially, well, it doesn't matter as much if he goes to the NFC, in my opinion, but an AFC jersey of any kind, whether it be the Chiefs up to whoever else, I mean, Steelers, whoever you want to say, it just doesn't feel right. And I don't know, man. I think there's something to be said there still.
I think this is definitely a want versus need kind of situation. I would love to see Nick Chubb back on the sideline as a coach one day. I think he'd make a great running backs coach. I don't know if that's what he wants to do. I know obviously he wants to continue playing. The Bears could be a very good fit for him. I tend to agree, as long as he's not in a Pittsburgh or Baltimore uniform. I don't really care where he ends up. I'm just not buying it, especially the writing was on the wall with Jerome Ford. Had he not restructured his contract to basically half, I think there was a good chance we probably would have re-signed Chubb, but now that he did that, there's no shot.
Yeah, that's the part of it too that is kind of like, oh shit, like what are we gonna do? But does it really matter? Because then you just cut Ford and it's even less money anyway. Because I think if you were to bring back Chubb, that's the route you were going. But to give Ford some credit, him as a third down or special situation back where you're trying to hit a home run, I mean, that's what he's good at, is finding a hole and then all of a sudden he's in the end zone. Maybe he's pitter-pattering too much behind the line of scrimmage until he gets there, which is what pissed off a lot of Browns fans with his game. But he's the definition of a home run hitter. He's batting 200 and he's got 40 home runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's going to go down, Chubb, as one of the greatest Cleveland Browns players, maybe. I don't want to say of all time, but much love, certainly. And we'll always have those years. Those aren't going away. We can remember them fondly. But this Cleveland Browns roster, I think it's time to get excited about some of these new guys and the opportunity that they represent.
I agree. I think it goes both ways in my mind, where I'm excited, but I also want to bring him back for the fact that he wants to retire here. But I also want to see him be able to do good things. And I don't know if there's a spot for him here to do those good things, because we've invested a lot into the position now. You don't take 2 draft picks out of a important position fondly. Non-important is not the word I'm looking for, but non-premium. Two picks at quarterback makes sense. 2 picks at edge. 2 picks on the offensive line makes sense sometimes even.
Right.
2 picks at running back, it muddies the waters for sure.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So you got to predict it right now. You say Chubb's time in Cleveland's over. You think he's a Chicago Bear?
If I had to make a prediction, yeah, I think it's over. You?
Maybe it's the negativity of the Cavs game yesterday, because now I'd be like, no, we're bringing him back normally, and he's going to fill into whatever role we want, because that's the type of guy Nick Chubb is. No, I think I'm with you. I think the rumors of Chicago heating up and the fact that he's a free agent and we have no pull over him to be like, oh, well, you should just stay with us because we have XYZ tag or whatever. No, he's a true free agent. He's going to pick the best situation for him to make money. And he's going to get a short-term incentive-based contract wherever he goes. And he's got way more of a chance to hit those incentives and play football on one team versus the other. Will it be the Bears? Will it be us? It remains to be seen. But It's just crazy. If you would have told a Browns fan this 3 years ago, 4 years ago, even when the Deshaun Watson trade happened, Chubb would be gone, Miles would have requested a trade. You could really frame the last offseason in the most horrific way possible, and a normal Browns fan would probably scoff at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, I'm actually taking everything from a positive light. I know you said it's the negativity, but I'm excited about this roster now and what they can show. I think it was Sports Illustrated already had them as getting the number 1 pick next year, thus having the worst record, and that seems crazy to me. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't see that at all.
See, that remains to be seen, and that's a good tee-off to maybe something we'll be talking about on the Wednesday show, which is our thoughts about the Browns prior to rookie minicamp. We'll also be talking a little bit of Guardians over there. We'll be talking a little bit of Cavs potentially with Game 2 wrapping up as well. Erik, final thoughts, hot takes. Tell me, what are you thinking? What do you got going on in your mind?
Since we had Gina on last week, I'm going to return just for a moment to women's sports. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana. Wow, I'm totally blanking on their name right
Fever.
now. Thank you. The Indiana Fever had an exhibition game at Iowa against Brazil, and Caitlin pulled up from beyond where she broke the NCAA record and drained the 3, which is basically from the logo, which was a pretty cool moment. Place went wild, of course, but I am excited to see her in action against Paige Beckers, of course, my UConn ladies that just won the national championship. Prices are going on average right now for over $1,000 for that game. $1,000.
That's crazy.
Completely crazy, but I got to tell you, we talked about it before. Women's sports is on the rise, and it's exciting. It's not like it's just a bunch of hype because it's new or whatever. It's really exciting to watch. Shout out to the W, the new women's sports bar here in Cleveland. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm going to be watching that game live as soon as it hits. I will not be going, especially for that price, but it should be fun.
You're not emptying the pockets to go watch that in person?
No, I mean, maybe if it were in Cleveland, I would consider it, but I'm not flying to Texas on top of it.
No, that's fair. My random thought, my hot take isn't a super off the wall random thought or hot take. It's something that's floated around Cleveland Browns airwaves ever since the draft concluded, but I do not think this is the end of whatever's happening in the wide receiver room. I'm just putting it out there that I still think a trade of some sorts is coming, whether it be something massive like the always rumored Brandon Ayuk trade or something smaller like a second or third string guy from another team to add some more depth that isn't Deontay Johnson and Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman and Jamari Thrash. I think there'll be another name in there before the end of training camp, or really maybe even before the start of training camp, just because I don't think that whatever their situation is, they're going to just leave it at that, especially with the fact that they tried to retain Elijah Moore. I thought they maybe thought there was a better chance that they were going to keep him than there was. So I think there's a trade of some sort coming. How big, how small, what size remains to be seen.
This is actually a take that I agree 100% with.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's nice to hear on a Monday after a very, very long Cinco de Mayo here at the office. Thank you for tuning in, everybody who came in and checked out the show during the live. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like, comment. We'll get back to your comments later on as well. Down in the comments, I'll text you guys back. Don't worry, I always do. Erik, anything else you want to say to the people?
I don't think so. It's good to see you on a Monday, though, Noah. This is different.
This is different. This is fun. Matt, get well soon. Matt is under the weather right now. So Erik filled in as a good friend does. And this has been another episode of The Office. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, Cleveland, stay up, stay blessed. Peace.